Tracy Sews, Tracy McElfresh here, Dayton, Ohio, with sewing tips in over a minute. Today I'm going to show you how I've been making the artist masks. And these are masks where I've deconstructed silk ties and made them into masks. I'm just going to give you a real quick, easy rundown. So the first thing I need is a good sharp pair of scissors. I've got my trash can because they're pretty messy. I like to use a seam ripper for some of the parts and then a razor blade for other parts. Kids, make sure you ask your parents. These are really dangerous and I don't want anyone to get hurt. So I've got a basic necktie. The first thing you want to look at is that it's wide enough at the bottom. Those narrow ties will not do. So the next thing I'm going to do is put my glasses on so I can see and I don't destroy it. I am going to just take my razor blade and tap off the label. And you'd be surprised, some of them have really cool labels. Just throw it away. And then there's this little loop right here, and this is much easier to do with my seam ripper, and that's really the only thing I do with the seam ripper is that tiny little loop right there. And then I open it up and I just go down, and they're usually really easy to get open because they're hand stitched. You probably could just pull them open, but some of them are silk and it'll run the silk. And I go about halfway up, and that's really all I need. I could salvage the rest of this and do something else with it, but I don't have anything. And this is where it gets messy, right over the trash can. Sometimes these insides can be pretty messy, and this one is still tacked down a little bit on the sides. You never know what you're gonna get. So we take that off, and then there's this little layer part on the inside that's extra, and I just go with my scissors and cut that right off. And then all I'll have left after that is the actual silk, and I'll take this over to my ironing board and give it a nice press, and then I'll cut out my mask pieces out of interfacing. And because ties are cut on the bias, they can be really shifty. So if I cut out my mask piece out of this, and I learned this the hard way the first time, what's gonna happen is my pieces are gonna shift and they're not gonna line up, they're not gonna match, and they're gonna be wonky. So what you wanna do is cut your pieces out of interfacing, and before you cut this, iron your interfacing pieces onto the back. Here's a little tip. If you have lines on your tie or stripes and you wanna match up, put the bottom of each mask piece on one of those lines and you'll be able to match up the print a lot easier. So people keep asking, I am using Joy 2 Sews pattern, J-O-Y, the letter 2, and sew, free downloadable pattern online, really easy, looks great, great pattern. So then I cut this out, and I'll cut out the back separately, put my pieces together, and what you want to remember is when you sew your back of your mask piece and then your interfacing top up, because the interfacing is much thicker and will push through your machine, and the bottom, usually a cotton or that flannel everybody's using, will actually pull through, and it'll keep it more even if you keep the thicker fabric on the top foot and not on those feed dogs. It tends to push around that thinner fabric, and it'll just make it a lot easier. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope everyone's doing well and stay safe. Thanks. Bye.